some call it a cult, but some truly believe that, Joe Biden is the end of the world and Donald Trump is a victim.
You can imagine if you watched MSNBC all day long and you believed what you were getting, you might be looking for a tall building or a bridge to leap off of. MSNBC causes mental illness. Bump, 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 bump. Definitely a contributing factor to mental illness. The epidemic of mental illness across the country. Just extraordinary. Well, good Thursday to you once again, and welcome back. The Democrats have decided to go all in with this pro-terrorist, radical Islamic terrorist. Again, they've always been the party. They inflicted the KKK on our country and on the world. Students for a Democratic Society and the Weather Underground and the Symbionese Liberation Army, all these radical groups and terror groups, they're all left-wing groups. And now they're pro-Hamas and they're pro-Ayatollah. It's another one of these truisms that if you're pro-Hamas, I'm pro-Palestinian. Well, right now that means you're pro-Hamas. It's kind of like I'm pro-Germany in 1943. Well, that means you're pro-Nazi, right? Well, no, I'm just pro-Germany. I'm not pro-Nazi. It's inescapable. It's unavoidable. It's the obvious truth. If you're pro-Germany, when Adolf Hitler and his Socialist Workers' Party are in charge, then you're pro-Nazi. That's the thing. 1943, pro-Germany. 2024, you're pro-Palestinian. That means you're pro-Hamas, which is a genocidal death cult of a radical Islamic terror group hell-bent on wiping Israel off the face of the earth, funded by Iran. Iran funded by Barack Obama and Joe Biden, with billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars that they naturally use to enrich uranium to illegal levels. You say they've enriched uranium to 60-something% now, spinning centrifuges, which, of course, Barack Obama and John Kerry, also known as Boltneck, they approved for the ridiculously named JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Yeah, good name for an agreement. You guys are all fired for every imaginable reason. But the left, that is to say the Democrat Party, which riots and loots and steals and carjacks and shoots people and spreads anti-Semitism on college campuses from Harvard to George Washington University and beyond, they're all pro-Hamas. Pro-Hamas. That is also inescapable and undeniable, although they would deny it because they're mental cases and they lie all the time. Kind of strange things. But inside the Biden administration, there's plenty of that going on. Plenty of this is now. Claudine Gay and the Ivy League university presidents that could not condemn genocidal anti-Semitism on their poison Ivy League campuses, right? That's anti-Semitism, and they're happy about it. They're fine with that. Also, the Biden administration is full of anti-Semites. We've been watching this for quite some time. I learned this morning that a Biden administration official at the Department of Education has resigned yesterday over the Biden administration's mollycoddling Israel and not being harsh enough with Israel, because Israel is being attacked by genocidal death cultists of radical Islam being funded by Iran being funded by Obama and Biden. And the Democrats are pounding the table angrily because I guess they want a Jewish genocide part deux. That's French. That's French for two. That's part two. Now, a Education Department official resigns over Biden's response to Gaza war. The left-wingers at the Axios website, fake news organization, say a senior education department official resigned on Wednesday, citing President Biden's response to the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. Now, is the war really in Gaza? Because they continue to fire missiles and rockets from Gaza at Israel in the hope of killing any random Jew they can kill. Children, elderly, Holocaust survivors, they don't care. No big deal. Now, the official, and this is a little bit funny because there is another story of an anonymous letter put out by a whole bunch of Biden administration officials, also expressing their genocidal anti-Semitism. They wouldn't describe it that way, but that's what it is. Education Department official resigns. Biden administration's approach to the Israel. So Department of Education, CNN typing the story, resigned on Wednesday. In a letter, the resignation of Tariq Habash. Tariq Habash. I would consider that to be a clue. Do you think that's a clue? Tariq Habash, policy advisor, Department of Education, Office of Planning, Evaluation, and Policy Development. Sounds like a very important office, doesn't it? And it's got a lot of words, doesn't mean a lot. Comes as the conflict, which erupted in Hamas' October 7th attacks on Israel, nears its third month with no sign of abating. Well, you're right. Radical Islam is not abating. And the billions of dollars given to the Ayatollahs in Iran by Barack Hussein Obama and Joseph Robinette Biden, those tens of billions of dollars literally have not been exhausted, but they will be eventually. So Tariq Habash, says it should go without saying that all violence against innocent people is horrific. You should look out your window from the education department at all the crime in D.C. because we just had a 26-year high in homicides with the end of 2023. And Tariq Habash writes, I mourn each and every loss, Israeli and Palestinian. Somehow I doubt that. Habash said in the 2-page letter to Education Secretary Miguel Cardona, who's a racist, but I cannot represent an administration that does not value all human life equally. Then he sent a check to Planned Parenthood. I cannot stay silent as this administration turns a blind eye to the atrocities committed against innocent Palestinian lives. What about the knives that were used to mutilate the women that they raped and murdered? By the hundreds. Anything about that, Tariq Habash? Asked for comment on the Tariq Habash resignation, a Department of Education spokesperson said in a statement, we wish him the best in his future endeavors, which might involve making suicide vests and blowing himself up at a synagogue or something. Sure. Habash talked to CNN, though, and he called out President Biden directly. Sorry, got another Trump story in front of me there. The refusal by the president to call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire is untenable, with the belief by millions of Americans across the country, he said. This is a strangely consistent thing, isn't it? Now, there's another one here, anonymous Biden campaign staffers. Very brave, anonymous. Everything they read in the paper is from anonymous sources. So they figure they can put out an anonymous letter. Anonymous Biden campaign staffers, not government employees, but campaign trying to get Joe Biden reelected. They're coming out in favor of Jewish genocide now, too. Anonymous Biden campaign staffers accuse own candidate of complicity in deaths of 20,000 Palestinians in scathing letter. They want more Jews dead. If there were an equal number of Jews dead, then they'd be happier with that because the Jews are defending themselves. You know, they hate self-defense in the United States, too. They don't believe in your right to own a firearm or to carry concealed or to defend yourself against home invasion. They think you should retreat and turn your house over to the lunatics because, you know, the home invaders are all Democrats, right? So and they love the Palestinians, which is not an actual ethnic group. But A group of anonymous campaign staffers for President Joe Biden penned a letter on Wednesday urging the president to change his stance on the Israel-Hamas war. The 17 staffers urged the commander-in-chief to push for a permanent ceasefire, which is what Hamas wants, but Hamas keeps firing missiles and rockets at Israel to kill the Jews. And they're still holding how many hostages? 130-something. If they haven't tortured them to death yet, and then they still have 130-something, including a whole bunch of Americans, which the news media completely ignores. How many American hostages are being held by Hamas? The news media completely ignores. Remember when Barack Obama bombed Libya for how many months was it? Was it 7 months? He said it was going to be a campaign of days and not weeks, and the news media pretended there was nothing going on for months. Amazing stuff. Then our embassy compound was attacked, and our ambassador was murdered, and another State Department employee murdered. Two great American heroes murdered. Tyrone Woods. Honestly, your Democrat Party. And remember, Hillary Clinton laughed about it. We came, we saw, he died, she said. And she laughed because she's not very funny. So the 17 staffers demanding that Biden call for a ceasefire, and they did it anonymously, and that's okay. So the anonymous aides encourage Biden to end unconditional military support for Israel and also demanding a ceasefire by Israel, but not by the hostage-taking, gender-mutilating, psychotic terrorist killers. As your staff, they wrote, we believe it is both moral, you know how moral they are, and it is a moral and electoral imperative for you to publicly call for a cessation of violence. The staffers wrote, complicity in the death of over 20,000 Palestinians, 8,200 of whom are children, simply cannot be justified. These staffers warned that Biden could lose the presidency to Donald Trump, which would be the end of civilization, right? And a good economy and control our border. Maybe no more war in the Middle East, no war in Europe. Remember when Trump was president, we didn't have war in the Middle East? We didn't have an open border. We didn't have, what was it? We had the population in the fourth quarter of 23 that flooded across our southern border. 785,000 illegal aliens, a number greater than the population of a number of U.S. states and the population of the District of Columbia. And that's just in one fiscal quarter. But pay no attention to that. Yeah, they warned him that he could lose to Trump. You know, when Trump wins the presidency in November, the Democrats are going to melt down. Well, their brains are already melted down, of course. But your administration's response to Israel's indiscriminate bombing in Gaza. That's a lie, the ignorant expletives deleted. Has been fundamentally antithetical to those values. And we believe it could cost you the 2024 election. Biden for president staff have seen volunteers quit in droves. The volunteers are quitting in droves. And people who have voted blue for decades, meaning radical left-wing left. The left is red, not blue. Pro-Americans are blue, not red. Don't use that lie, the blue-red language that the left seized so that they wouldn't be red, even though they're more red than they've ever been. Yeah, they say they've seen volunteers quitting in droves from the re-election campaign. Voted blue for decades. Feel uncertain about doing so for the first time ever. They're lying. They would vote for Vladimir Lenin. They would vote for Joseph Stalin. And they'll vote for whatever Democrat, dim-witted though they may be, is on the ballot. It is not enough to merely be the alternative to Donald Trump. Sure it is. They're lying again. The campaign has to shift the feeling in the pits of voters' stomachs. They're mentally ill and they're violently, criminally insane. The same feeling that that weighs on us as we fight for your reelection. They wrote anonymously, honestly. These people. Then they secretly talked to the left-wingers at Politico. That reminds me, did you see the jihadis in New Jersey attack a Jewish family for wearing a pro-Israel shirt? Young lady, a teenage girl, wearing a pro-Israel shirt. And these jihadis, I've got the audio for you coming up. They should be deported before the sun goes down today. Where do you hear this stuff in a shopping mall in New Jersey?
We came, we saw, he died.
Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit chrisplantcruise.com. All right, I just mentioned an incident that occurred in New Jersey, one of our 50 states, where a nice family, a Jewish family, was at a shopping mall. And the 16-year-old, I believe, daughter was wearing an Israeli Defense Forces shirt, a sweatshirt, I think, 16-year-old girl. And the family was accosted, and mom is there. And these radical, they say they're Palestinian, Arab, Muslims, get in the face of this Jewish family at the mall. And they're pro-Hamas, and it sounded like this.
Leave her alone. Leave them alone. I'm helping you.
You attacked me and dropped my phone. You're recording me with so much. It's free Palestine.
Leave this guy alone.
A man and a woman, Muslims, both bearded. All right, she doesn't really have much of a beard, but she's working on it. And they're accosting this family. They're just walking through this shopping mall. And these radical extremists ought to be deported this afternoon. Radical jihadis are accosting this family. They're cursing a lot, too.
You're cursing my child.
You're pushing my child. Get away from my child. Mom is yelling.
Stay away from my child.
You know, anti-Semitism at Harvard and MIT and University of Pennsylvania, George Washington University, and in the Biden administration, and in this shopping mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Have you ever been there? Have you ever been there? Have you been there? Have you ever been there? Are you been there? You've been there?
They also had their 12-year-old kid with them. The 16-year-old daughter with an IDF sweatshirt on being accosted by these calling, the so-called Palestinian self-described, saying, you're a whore, your mother's a whore, your grandmother's a whore. This is because, and threatening to effing kill you. Gonna effing kill you. And these are the, so-called Palestinians. Can we get ICE on the job here? Kick these people out today?
My child? You're cursing my child?
That's
You're cursing my child?
Ah, yes. East Rutherford, New Jersey. Ironically, in the American Dream Mall. The shopping mall that the nice Jewish family was in is called the American Dream Mall. And these jihadis accosted the family. And there's video. One of the jihadis slapped the Jewish woman's hand and knocked her phone out of her hand. Accosted the children, a 16-year-old girl and a 12-year-old. I think the 12-year-old is a boy. And they went to the American Dream Mall. The 16-year-old girl, Jewish family, wearing an IDF sweatshirt, kind of a cool one, green. I wish I had that sweatshirt because it's a good one. And the assaults took place. Now, the family involved, the young girl, 16-year-old Maya Vaxman Majid is her name, and her mother is Adi Vaxman. And they appeared on the television this morning on the Fox News Channel, probably before you woke up. And mom was there, the 16-year-old daughter was there, and a woman representing StopAntisemitism.org, was also on the television this morning. I think that's a good idea. Isn't it ironic, Michael and I were talking this morning, that the Democrats all day long are yelling, calling everybody racist, right? Everybody's racist except them, the party of the Klan and Jim Crow and the Confederate States of America. Everybody's a racist, right? And when that creepy plagiarist anti-Semite president of Harvard, Claudine Gay, is forced to move to another job where she'll only make $875,000 a year, it's because everybody's a racist. Everybody is a racist, and they're out to get her because she's black and they're all racist. Never mind that the first Ivy League college president that was forced to resign from the University of Pennsylvania is a white woman. Never mind that, because facts get in the way of these delusional mental cases that run places like Harvard. If your kids go to Harvard, pull them out now. If you go to Harvard, get out now. But this morning, this family that was attacked at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey, on the television. Let's go to soundbite number 11. This is the 16-year-old girl who was wearing the offending sweatshirt, allegedly, Maya Vaxman-Majid.
I've been, yelled at before by, people in school and just random people,
Democrats.
in the mall, at home or whatever. But, it's never turned violent. It's never been this aggressive. So this was pretty scary. Me and my mom, we were both shaking. It wasn't fun, obviously.
Now, Mom was trying to make a video with her phone when one of the criminal jihadi psychotic death cultists violently slapped the phone out of her hand. And I don't know how easy it is to strip someone of citizenship, but we should maybe get into the habit because the world is changing beneath our feet very rapidly. And if these people are not citizens and they're deportable, they should be grabbed with a hook, put in straitjackets, thrown into the back of a military airplane, and taken immediately to whatever beep hole country they fled to come to America, to live in New Jersey and go to the American Dream Mall. But these people are vile, vulgar, genocidal, criminal jihadis and should be expelled from our great country before they commit any more and perhaps much more egregious offenses. Now, the mother was there also, Adi Vaxman, and she didn't enjoy the experience.
I was really surprised. No one should be walking around in the mall and being attacked for anything that they're wearing or for anything at all. We live in a country that should be law-abiding. I was very surprised. I was upset. My daughter was attacked out of the blue. We were just walking, and they just came at us, behind us. We didn't even see them.
This is the jihad. The jihad is here in America. And make no mistake, the Democrat Party is saddling up with them. From the anonymous snowflake creep anti-Semites in the Biden campaign writing the anonymous letter showing that they're pro-Hamas, pro-Iran, anti-Israel, anti-everything Western and everything American. They should be found out. And they should be, but the Biden administration will be fine with that. They're going to try to keep those anti-Semites who are demanding that Joe Biden do the bidding of Hamas. He's already doing the bidding of Iran, carrying on the tradition of Barack Hussein Obama, by the way. But what was happening in that mall is the jihad, make no mistake, in the United States of America. And these people should be, if legally possible, expelled from the country immediately. Hey, go to their house. Like they raid Trump officials' houses. The FBI should show up with ICE in tow. Tell them to throw a few things in a bag because the handcuffs are going on. They're going in the back of a van. They're going to an airport, and they're being expelled from the country because the jihad must be stopped. But instead, the Democrat Party, yet from Claudine Gay of Harvard on Capitol Hill smirking her way through the questions about the rabid, rampant anti-Semitism on the campus of Harvard, while she smugly blows off the questions from members of Congress. Never mind that. Here's Adi Vaxman.
I was really surprised. No one should be walking. I was really surprised.
Uh-oh. That's the wrong cut.
It was very unpleasant. It was scary. And it was a testament of what's happening in the country lately. And
Yes, it is.
we feel that as Americans, we need to decide if we're going to be a civilized culture or a savage, barbaric culture, and allow for certain groups in the name of free speech to harass other people, to bully other people, to terrorize people in public spaces. That's not okay. Nobody should be subject to that.
Well, the left thinks it's okay, and the jihadis think it's okay, and the left and the jihadis are now in bed together, and it's a very disturbing time. And the Democrat Party, make no mistake, is the driving force behind a great deal of this on college campuses, and the Jewish students on these college campuses being threatened. In fact, the 16-year-old girl started out by saying that she's been yelled at and threatened before at school, out on the street, because she's Jewish. And I've played audio here of college student after college student, in particular, but not exclusively, at Ivy League schools, talking about being harassed and threatened for being Jewish. Their professors telling them to not wear anything like a Star of David and, God forbid, a yarmulke that might identify them as Jewish, certainly not an Israeli flag or anything like that. It was years ago that UC Berkeley students, conservative students, set up a banquet table with an Israeli flag and flyers, pamphlets and things, saying, hey, you visit Israel. And they were spit at and threatened. It had stuff knocked off the table. The next day, the same students went to the same place with the same banquet table, set up their pro-Palestinian flag, the Palestinian flag, which is now the Hamas flag, and their pro-Palestinian stuff. And all the students at Berkeley were like, yeah, man, we're down with the struggle, man. And then they were decapitating Jewish babies and slamming their heads on pikes on the metal fence. But never mind that. Here is, again, the mother, Adi Vaxman.
We intend to press charges, and we'll see what happens. This is not about Jews or about Israel. This is about our American values. We can't allow groups of people to just decide to terrorize other people for no reason. That's not okay.
It's about preserving civilization, not just Western civilization, but civilization itself. And these animals at the American Dream shopping mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey, are anti-civilization. They're savages. They're animals. They should be kicked out of the country. They're accosting and assaulting a family because they're Jewish and because they support the jihad. And the jihad is all about the genocide of the Jewish people and the extermination of the state of Israel from the river to the sea, which Democrats are chanting across the country. Isn't that extraordinary? Adi Vaxman.
I'm proud to be Jewish. I was raised by Holocaust survivors. They taught me to be proud of who I am. I am a proud American, and I will be outside wearing what I want to wear. I am not bothering anybody. I am not walking around attacking anyone who wears Free Palestine shirts in the mall, and nobody should be doing that to me or my family.
Yeah, your 16-year-old daughter and your 12-year-old son or daughter, and you or anybody, they're jihadis. And again, Michael and I were talking, can you imagine what the Middle East was like 200 years ago? Just think about that. And how much has it really evolved since then, culturally? This is a serious question. Now, a woman representing StopAntisemitism.org. Her name is Leora Rez, R-E-Z. And Leora Rez was on the television this morning also.
It's absolutely mind-boggling, to be honest. We firmly believe that this is the direct product of this deranged Free Palestine movement that has infected everything from college campuses to social media. And the product of this is an American family not being able to walk freely in a mall in New Jersey during the holiday season without being verbally and physically accosted. It's horrific.
Again, deportable? Deport them. Can they be stripped of their citizenship? Let's begin the process. You don't need these people. You can't live among these people. You can't have these people living among civilized people. They must be, if they can be, expelled from the country. I don't think that's particularly harsh. Oh, by the way, CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, which is a front group for the jihad. They're a soft jihad group, an anti-Israel group. The founder of the group said he was happy to see the Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th. And now they're busy trying to get their radical books placed in libraries across the country for children. They're not pushing the transgender agenda in children's libraries, but the Democrats are. The jihadis at CARE, they're pushing books, the book Baba, What Does My Name Mean? Child Refugee, Journey to Palestine. And it's all about wiping Israel off the map because Israel must be destroyed. And the jihadis are working, and they're gonna have a welcoming audience in Democrats running libraries because the Democrat Party has gone off the rails on the Israel jihad thing. Know what I'm talking about? Indeed. All right, let's go to a telephone call. Haven't done that in a while. Let's go to John calling from Arkadelphia, Arkansas. John, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Just a quick comment. I couldn't help but think about the fake attack on Juicy Smollett and the outcry, the vice president speaking about it, and just all over the media rushing to talk about it, and not a sound regarding this. Not a verbal attack, I guess you might say.
Well, they were slapped and had the phone knocked around, and the girl was, the mother was yelling, you're pushing my child, you're pushing my child. So they're physically assaulting them. They slapped the phone out of mom's hand. And you're right, Juicy Smollett made the whole thing up. There were no MAGA hat wearing people, and 3 o'clock in the morning on an Arctic night in Chicago, while Juicy Smollett went to the Subway to get a sub sandwich. You're right. And you're right. The creepy, dishonest president of the United States was out there, and oh no. And the Democrats were everywhere. And you had, your Hollywood crowd out there pounding the table. This must not be. And of course it never happened. But it's a good point, John. And they dialed that up to 11 when it never happened, right? The same way they've dialed January 6th up to 20, even though they had just completed their mission of burning cities from Portland and Seattle to Chicago and Atlanta and Ferguson and New York and Washington. And, they're still looting our city and other cities across the country. And Joe Biden doesn't have a word to say about any of that, does he, John?
Nothing. As you always say, if there were not for double standards, the left would have no standards at all.
That is a fact, Jack, isn't it? And that is a great point, John, and I appreciate that. Have an excellent Arkadelphia, Arkansas day. Is everything great there? Is it wonderful? Is it like America?
It's normal, yes. They're still normal here.
Still normal. Congratulations. I envy that. That's a wonderful thing. See, he laughs comfortably and happily. John, thank you very much. Great call. And,
yes, sir.
And you're right. Juicy Smollett had all of the Democrat Party's leadership and this MAGA country, and they put a noose, which he brought himself, right? And he paid those 2 African guys to go to the store and buy these things and get the piece of rope, and somebody made a fake noose, and Juicy was walking around with the fake noose around his neck.
Who the make something like this up or add something to it or whatever it may be? I can't even. I'm an advocate.
He's an advocate. They're all advocates, all these Democrats, aren't they? For what? You don't want to know, but doesn't John sound happy? Nice, happy person. Lives in a normal place, still normal. Get your Remember Normal coffee mugs and T-shirts at the Chris Plant Store. It's slipping away. We're raising a generation now that will not remember normal. We've got to hold on to normal in the name of civilization. Maybe we should call Juicy Smollett, see what he thinks about this incident in New Jersey. Joe Biden should respond. Why aren't all the Democrats angrily pounding the table about this incident at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey? Why aren't these jihadis being rounded up by the FBI? Wasn't there a pre-dawn raid Why weren't they put into shackles? An FBI SWAT team should show up at their doors. But no. You know why? Democrats. There is a school shooting to report out of Iowa. Police responding to a shooting at Perry High School, Perry, Perry High School in Perry, Iowa. And law enforcement, multiple on the scene. The Democrats want to defund them. Reports of at least one person being killed. And also, apparently, this is where the cross-dressing, non-binary, shaved head, mustache-wearing luggage thief from Joe Biden's administration, the nuclear waste guy at the Energy Department, Sam Brinton. It's where he went to high school. Now, that is doubtless a random coincidence, but Sam Brinton is in the news today because he's apparently not going to face the music when it comes to his multiple luggage theft, stealing women's clothing and cross-dressing in the stolen women's clothing and posting his pictures on the internet. When you're a Democrat, you know, the Democrats have got your back, especially if you're a non-binary cross-dressing luggage thief, because they love that. School shooting at Perry High School in Perry, Iowa. And the details are thin. Except for the fact that cross-dressing luggage thief Sam Brinton apparently went there. That's crazy. It's a crazy world out there. You know why? Democrats. That's why, honestly. Completely nutty people. Authorities will hold a news conference on the matter coming up fairly soon. It's kind of peculiar because it started a while ago and the details are very scant. So I won't conjecture as a verb. I will wait until there are more facts on the matter. Now, there's a lot more to get to, also having to do with crazy Democrats. Anti-Semitism is their bag. Racism is their bag. You know, like that flyer I was talking about in Columbia Heights in Washington, D.C., telling everybody to loot the local grocery store because they're racist, because a white redneck, you know, and they're pro-Gaza. So it's an anti-Semitic, anti-white flyer calling for more violent crime.